Hey, good morning. Welcome to Podiatry Practice Mastery down here. I want to talk a little bit today about something that has just been on my mind lately. It's about a shock and awe package. And it's really been on my mind because there's a couple of things. What we realize when we have patients, a lot of us see these second opinions. And basically it's only a second opinion because they weren't pleased with the first one. Or we see people that go to a doctor and they don't even remember the name of the doctor. And that's usually not the patient's fault. It's usually because the doctor didn't wow them. And let's talk about, I've been wowed a couple of times recently, so I want to talk about that. The first time was just a couple of days ago for this Ignite Present conference, and this is something that Jody Schronhausen is putting on along with some other people, and we're going to be talking about, or she's going to be talking about different like fat pad replacement and things like that. I was okay, I'm going to the conference, that's going to be fun. And by the time you listen to this, the conference is probably done. But, you know, it's a conference. It's an online conference. I'm not really excited about sitting in front of a computer all day. And that was that. But, like, I got this big box, and it had in there, like, Cheetos and, like, candy and, like, a announcement of what was going to be there and some things that reps sent in there, like freebies and things like that. And that kind of made me excited. And so it took me from a like, oh, blah, I have to watch another, sit a whole day in front of Zoom, into something like, wow, I wonder what I'm going to learn there. And so that was a good thing. And so the box I got, I kind of call it a shock and awe box. And I always think of well, how could that be even better? So a couple of things that Jody could have done even better or present would be of putting like a QR code at the top of the box and then doing like a welcome video. So QR code scanning to like a YouTube video saying, hey guys, we're excited about our new conference. Here's a sneak preview of what you're going to learn. Something kind of, it doesn't have to be really high tech because, it just has to be sincere. So Jody could be talking about something. So just a way to make that shock and awe package a little bit better. But it showed about like getting the CME credits and some of the details and some of the courses that would be there. And it had a lot of like stuff that my kids ate, and it like got them all full of sugar. And I try not to eat those Cheeto things because they make my fingers all dirty. But the kids ate all the chocolate and all the Cheetos and everything like that. So that was the one shock and awe package that I got recently. Another thing that kind of shocked me, and I've talked about this before, is I was invited to be interviewed on this physical therapist's podcast. And he has, I think it's called Hooked on Health, and he's a referral source. And so he did it really, I think it's for reciprocity, and that just means, if he's nice to me, I tend to give more referrals. And that's true, because if I like the guy, I'm going to give more referrals, and if he does good work, I'm going to give more referrals. But what I didn't expect is that even before I did the interview, I got a nice mug in the mail, and it was like a $30 mug, and it had his physical therapy place on it, and it had my name, Dr. Donald Pelto, on it. And I was like, wow, that was nice. That was elegant, made me feel good, made me like the guy. And so that's another type of a shock and awe package. So I would challenge you, what are some things that you can do to shock and awe your patients? And it doesn't need to be anything huge. Like in our office, when they get a pair of orthotics or anything that's pretty expensive, we will give them a water bottle and a pair of socks, and it's just kind of automatic. That's what they get if they get an orthotic or something that's more expensive in our office. But I've kind of kept on thinking, well, how can we take this to the next level? Like, what are other things that we can do to really shock our patients and really wow them? So here's a couple of thoughts that are on my mind. Within your medical record, usually you can do, like, if someone schedules a new patient visit, it can recognize that, and you could even send them an email before, right? And so in this email or text message, you could send them to like a welcome page, and on that welcome page, what could you include? Well, you could include a list of, let's say, a lot of your Google reviews, and then you could do a lot of like patient education information based on the most common topics that they're coming in for, like plantar fasciitis, Achilles tendonitis. You could include some of your ebooks or links to your ebooks if you have them. That's kind of an easy way to do it before the visit. You could even have one automated after the visit. And the one after the visit would even request, hey, if you had a good review, give us a video testimonial, which I've talked about before, or just a regular online review. So those are kind of internet or type of technology like email. But let's talk about the other shock and awe packages that I've been playing around with lately. So I've learned an easy way, and I even looked on this on Amazon. I didn't see anything. I was like, I wonder if they have this on Amazon. So I looked up shock and awe package, and I didn't think anything. But this would be a good idea. So if Amazon had something that I could pay like $20 for, and it would be just a box of junk, not junk, but cool junk, like stuff that foot-related stuff. And I could, if I wanted to wow someone, I could very easily send them that box of stuff. And that's the neat thing about Amazon. I'm using it to fulfill my books now. So these books, instead of printing a whole bunch of them and having me to mail them, all I do is I go to Amazon. The books that I put in there, I just send like 5 copies to different people. And it takes a week or so, but I'll tell them, you're going to be getting a book in a couple weeks here. And I send them, and I say, when you run out, I'll send you more. And the PTs, they say this, they kind of fly off the shelves. And so these books, I have one on Achilles tendonitis and one on plantar fasciitis. I actually print them, send them to the location. And I had a patient the other day. I sent some to a nail salon, and she gave the book to a patient with Achilles tendonitis, and they came in, and they're getting shockwave, and they're getting all this treatment, ultrasound, and things like that. So the shock and awe package right now for me is basically just the books I'm sending to them. But there's got to be a better way of doing that, and even doing it more involved. I think like email is okay, but it's really easy to delete and ignore email. So I had a talk recently with a company called ClickSend, and I've talked about this before. But basically what ClickSend does, and they're trying to get an integration with my medical record, Athena. Because what I foresee is, like, let's say I have Jan Smith there, and I want to wow her. So after her visit, or right when I'm in the visit, I go up to my medical record, and it automatically populates into this ClickSend thing. And I send her this 5-letter sequence. So the first letter would send out a whole bunch of testimonials, and the next one would send out some of my webinars, the next one would send out links to the books, the next one would request referrals, things like that. But it would be automatically set. It would pull her name in there, and it would set out like a 5-email sequence, and then it would switch to maybe my regular email sequence or something like that. So it has to be easy. You have to be able to do it when you're with patients in the office, and even better, it would be better if you didn't have to do it. So those are my thoughts on a shock and awe package. I'd love to know what you guys find that works for you, if you're doing anything for patients to kind of really wow them. And why do we do this? Well, it's because when they go, they're going to say, wow, that doctor did really something different for me. And it really doesn't have to be expensive. I remember when I first started out, and what I still do is before surgery, I'll call my patients. I have a little system set up, and I'll call them, and I'll just make sure they're okay. And the night after, I'll call them as well. And the way I do that actually is we have block time at it's like the first Wednesday of the month, and then on that Wednesday I use something called Follow Up Then. So at 5 p.m. the first Wednesday of the month, it sends me a text message to remind me to call my patients at night. So that's the Follow Up Then thing that I've talked about before. Kind of a cool little hack. If you do it, your block time is always the same time, or every Wednesday or something like that. And then but that's how I do it, and that's a kind of a wow. No one does this. So these simple things that you can do to wow your patients, but the more you can automate them, the better. But it builds really credibility and things like that, and goodwill, and they like you and they want to tell you about other people. And I just think that printed things, they're harder to ignore than email things. Email is so easy to delete, but like this thing that Jody sent me on the Ignite conference, I got that thing sitting on my countertop, and my kids are always playing with it, and they're trying to use the syringes that are in there, and like these products that are in there, they're like, can I eat this, or what are we going to do with this? So just something to think about, doing your own shock and awe package. I'd love to know what's working for you guys, if you're doing anything like that, or if you have any thoughts. Please either respond on the bottom of this podcast, or email me, Don at podiatrypracticemastery.com. I'd love to interview you, talk about what's working. Okay, once again, please join, go to Podiatry Practice Mastery, join the membership. On the membership, I just have like a virtual junk drawer of a lot of information, and I keep adding to it just because I like to do that. So it's fun. It might help you on different topics, and I hope you find this beneficial. Okay, have a great day.